Hi, my name is Syndia. Today I've decided to try oil pastels on canvas. I also want to say a big hello to Jasmine. Jasmine watches the videos with her mom in the UK. I'm really glad you're watching and I hope you like today's drawing. I chose to draw a bird today, a robin. If you decide to try this, please tag me on Instagram because I really love to see your results. Let's get started. This is my reference image. I posted it on my Facebook page along with the outline sketch that I made of it and the final results, so you can download them for reference if you want to. So I decided to trace this to save a little bit of time, but if you need some sketching tips, I've included some in this video, my ocean sunset. For tracing, it's always better to print your image and trace over it with tracing paper. I've decided to trace directly on my computer screen with tracing paper. You have to ask your parents before doing this because you could really damage a computer. You have to be very careful to press very lightly and gently, so be very careful if you decide to do this. I put a tracing paper over the screen with some tape and I traced very gently, as I was saying, no pressure at all, to make sure that you don't damage the computer, super important. And if you want to see better, you can close the lights, but again, print the image and trace over it, it's way better. I'll be using an 11 by 14 canvas and I'm using the thicker one, 1.5 inch, just because I think it looks better on a wall. You don't have to frame it and it looks really good. The canvas will want to sink in, so what I do is I put a book in the opening at the back to have a more sturdy surface to draw. I personally like to set aside all the colors I want to use in my drawing, just because I have so many in my collection. You don't have to do this, but that's what I do. In the video, you'll see me using 2 blending tools, but you can use your fingers without a problem. But if you want to blend smaller areas, you can use a paper towel, fold it, and use a corner of it. It'll do the job. I also use a wooden stick or a toothpick to scrape away areas where I make mistakes. That's very handy. To transfer your drawing onto the canvas, it's really easy. All you have to do is flip over your tracing paper, use a lead regular pencil or some kind of chalk to go over all the lines. Flip it back over onto your canvas. I use some tape to secure it in place, and then one last time you'll go over all the lines and that will imprint the chalk or pencil on the canvas. And that's a very easy way to transfer your sketches. On to the fun part, the drawing itself. What I like to do is build the color very slowly, not saturating the paper or the surface right away. I just put pops of color a bit everywhere, and then I use a white pastel to go over everything to lighten the colors and to blend them all together. White is my best friend. Don't forget to clean your pastels with a paper towel once in a while so that you don't smear different pigments where you don't want it to be. Clean your fingers as well because they get super dirty. When I use my blending stump, the way I clean it is I use a piece of sandpaper and rub it over, and it gets rid of all that pigment I don't want. Keep in mind that the more colors you lay on top of each other, the more different shades you lay on top of each other, the more 3D and realistic your drawing will appear. So don't be shy to put some green on top of red or some browns with oranges to give it some depth and some texture. It was my my first time using oil pastels on canvas. I knew it could be done because you can use oil pastels on pretty much anything, but I had never really tried on canvas. And I can say that it's very different than paper. I found that it's kind of tricky to be able to cover the canvas without the white peeking through, and the pastels tend to slip away from the canvas when you blend, especially when you use student grade pastels. When you use the professional pastels, they're a lot creamier. They kind of melt in your fingers almost, so it's easy to put a thicker layer and to blend them together, because it becomes almost like paint in a way. But with the student grade, I guess there's more waxy materials in it, and it's a bit harder to cover the canvas. I was able to cover it and to get a good result, but it's really different than paper. I guess a very interesting video could be to compare a drawing, the same drawing, on paper versus on canvas. I should give it a try. Another way I would use oil pastels on canvas would probably by using Gamsol. If you haven't seen my oil pastel blending technique video, super quick and good tips in there, check it out. And that might actually work better on canvas. I should give it a try. So I decided to give the bird a little stylistic effect by using the Sgraffito technique, which is basically a bunch of little scratches everywhere. I use a toothpick or the wooden stick to do that. I just felt that it would mimic the effect of feathers, and it would give it like an interesting texture. To fix mistakes, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is scrape it off with the wooden stick or toothpick, and then you just blend it back. With oil pastels and with art in general, you can put as much detail as you want to make it super realistic, or you could make it more spontaneous and just put a few pops of colors here and there. There are no rules. The fun thing is to experiment and to really enjoy the moment, so remember that. And no matter the result, I try to tell myself, even if the final drawing is not perfect, I learned something because I did it and I finished it. So next time I sit down to make another one, I'll be that much better. And I also created something unique in the world, and that's something to cherish. So don't forget to really enjoy the process and have fun. So I really like how this turned out. I like the texture in it and the colors. I think it's really joyful. I don't really draw birds that much, but it turned out really nicely. By the way, what do you like to draw? Let me know. I'm curious. If you want more inspiration, subscribe, hit the bell, and watch this next.